Hey gang, December is finally here and we are approaching everyone's favorite time of the year. So you've decorated the tree, you've finished all your shopping, and oh, a dead body. Sorry. Anyways, where was I? Oh yes. So the fireplace crackles on a cold, snowy night. The presents are being wrapped, eagerly awaiting Santa, and oh, a dead body. That's not right. Anyways, so now you can sit back and wait for Santa to arrive. Because Christmas is finally here. Alright, seriously, what is that thing?
Sunday on Knight Rider. The Halloween murderer's tricks are no treat for Michael. And what's the secret of the haunted house?
Don't want to know.
A special Knight Rider Sunday. Next on Knight Rider. Who's Michael gonna call when he tries to bust a gang of ghosts in a haunted house?
You don't want to know.
Next on Knight Rider.
Production 58624, Halloween Night. This episode was written by Bill Nuss and directed by Winrick Colby. This episode originally aired Sunday night, 8 p.m. on October 28th, 1984. It was the 46th episode to air, but the 50th episode to be produced. The synopsis reads as follows. On Halloween, Bonnie is targeted when she witnesses a murder in her apartment building. Okay, let's see what we can uncover in this installment. All right, well, the first thing to note is we've got these three people dressed up, and one of them is dressed in a monk's robe from the Ice Bandits. He's obviously got a mask on there. But if you look, this is the exact same style monk robe from the same wardrobe department. And I can almost guarantee you that this exact wardrobe was used by one of the monks in the Ice Bandits. All right. And here we get a rare look. This is Bonnie's apartment. This is the only time in the entire series where we kind of see her away from Flag and a little bit of her personal life. And so you hope that, in episodes like this, you can glean a little bit of what the characters like to do in their off time, right? What are their hobbies outside of, what's Bonnie's hobbies outside of working on Kit? But here we don't see anything, boxes of papers and a bowl, and I guess she's still unpacking. And over here, she likes some artwork, I guess, and ferns. But she looks kind of boring, I guess. Oh, and I just noticed this. See these keys right here? These are the exact same keys we see a close-up of whenever Bonnie's looking for the right key for her mailbox. You can see the sandal keychain right there. So, nice bit of continuity. So this is Dallas Cole, who played Jean, although here she's pretending to be Esmeralda. And a neat story. We talked to Taffy O'Connell, who played Denise Reynolds in this episode. And she actually knew Dallas long before this episode filmed, and she had actually been to her house and they had had dinner together. So whenever they were both cast in this episode, it was kind of exciting for both of them because they got to catch up with each other. They hadn't seen each other in many years. And this is purely a coincidence, but 2 years ago, I had a cat show up at my house that we've now adopted that looks exactly like Voodoo, the cat here. Exactly, even down to the white stripe in her ear. Maybe it's Voodoo reincarnated. So now we see the chemical analyzer again. This is not stock footage reused from Knights of the Fast Lane. This is all new footage because they had to film, the new scene of Michael placing the hide sample in the chemical analyzer. But in this one, we get the angle is a little bit different, so we get a clear view of the printer prop that's now underneath Kit's monitor. Of course, this is all on the insert dash. This was never on the dash that was in the hero car. And, now I'm kind of curious because, we own this insert dash. Are there any mounts for this printer prop underneath this lip? And the answer is yes, there are 2 mounts, 2 studs in there that held in this printer prop. Take a look. Isn't that amazing? Now if we could only find this printer prop. Our friend Scott owns the chemical analyzer, but where is that printer? And anyways, we can see the pods on this side are exactly the same as what we see in Knights of the Fast Lane, with the blank pod here, TDS, auto door right, a couple of those that we really never see up close and in use on the show. And then we see Michael. This is inside the hero car, and despite the fact that it's supposed to be Halloween, they were filming this in late August, and you can just see, look at all the sweat on his neck. You can see how hot it was that day. So we've got a little bit of a special treat for you. About a year and a half ago, a man named Mark Klein emailed us, and he had actually gone to the Halloween night set and snapped a few photos while he was watching some scenes being filmed. And he graciously shared his photos with us, and we are going to share them with you. So let's go through Mark Klein's photos. He was in high school, and he managed to find where they were filming Halloween night for this specific day and went out there to watch. So this was in, he thinks, August of 1984. So let's take a look at the photos. All right, so here's the first one. This is the right-hand blind drive car, right? So this was new for season 3. This used to be the original hero car, the one that Michael Chaffee originally built. So this is what the car looked like, a few episodes into season 3. We can still see it's still sporting the season 2 lower console here. Some of the buttons are missing. They never bothered to remove that. But you can see it has a shell of a dash. Here's that round steering wheel that's mounted on the passenger side. And if you look back here, you can just barely make out some of the chain right here and the sprockets and the rollers right there that connected the brake pedal and the throttle over to the driver's side. And we've got the steering wheel, and I don't think you can see too much else here. But that's a pretty neat look at the right-hand blind drive car. All right, so this is a photo when they're prepping the scene in the episode where Michael and Kit turbo boost through the plate glass truck. And if we zoom in here, a couple things to note. First of all, before we talk about Kit, look at this Mercedes here. The license plate, which is kind of blurry, says Fall Guy. This is Jack Gill's personal Mercedes, and that was his license plate, what I thought was pretty cool. So Kit, look at this car. You're probably wondering what's on the roof. This is the roll cage acrylic window jump car. And what's on the roof is actually the acrylic piece for the rear hatch, folded up and over, and sitting on the roof. So according to Mark, during this scene, this is when they were trying to counterbalance the car. They were throwing weights in the trunk, so whenever it jumped, it didn't go nose first. So they were getting this all prepared. And if you look here, you can see the trim panel and the latch right there. But this is all bendable acrylic. How cool is that? All right, so this scene takes place at the very end of the episode when Michael is talking to Esmeralda or Jean, and the plants start falling over. So you can see we've got his director's chair here, and Kit's sitting by. I don't know who this guy is. It's a pretty good mullet, though. All right, so now we're at the left-hand blind drive car. So we've talked about this in a few episodes. This is the car, this car premiered at the beginning of season 2, but it didn't receive this hero dash until the beginning of season 3. So this is the dash that was originally in the hero car, which is now the right-hand blind drive car. So when they took this dash out to make the right-hand blind drive car, they decided to put it in the left-hand blind drive car. And what do we see here? I mean, obviously, unfortunately, they cut the pods off. So you can see the pods are no longer there. But we've got the telescoping steering wheel here. We've got this tall dragster style ratchet shifter. And this was so the person sitting back behind the seat could reach it. You know, all this stuff had to be closer to the seat since they were sitting behind the seat. And you can even see some of the shroud here that's Velcroed onto the back of the seat. You can even see some of the Velcro right here. Sorry. Now you can see some of the Velcro there. I was outside of my bounds. So right here, you can see the Velcro and right there on the shroud. And then if we zoom in here and look a little closer, you can see this panel right here with the red light. This is the line lock light. This told the stunt driver that the line lock was activated. There was an audible buzzer and this light that lit up very brightly. So there you go. Left-hand blind drive car. Now, so here's another scene. This was also at the end of the episode whenever they were filming the potted plants falling over. And we've got the director's chair here, Hasselhoff's chair, and then this is H. John Penner, the camera operator. He did a number of Knight Rider episodes. And I think right here, is that Patricia McPherson, the top of her head? I think it is. And another scene, just Hasselhoff relaxing, waiting to be filmed. And then this is the hero car, the new hero car for season 3. And you can see at this point, it still looks pretty decent, pretty clean looking. All right, so here we have, this is where they're getting ready to film the scene where Kit turbo boosts again through the plate glass truck. So they're prepping the ground for where they're going to put the ramps in, right? And there's obviously David just kind of hanging out watching. And also, filming the end of the episode, there's Edward Mulhare just chatting with some of the crew in between takes. And again, there's H. John Penner right there just waiting for filming to commence. And here's the rack of Trans Ams that they had for this episode. So what do we see here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 of them here. I can tell that this back one right here is the roll cage acrylic window jump car. And the resolution is just not good enough to tell what these other ones are, but I can tell that that's the jump car right there. And Mark was lucky enough to be there when they actually did the jump. So here's the jump car. You can see the roll cage back here and the acrylic windows, and you can even see all the driver's windows kind of just hanging in there. But that's a really, really cool angle of that jump. And then here, this is right before the jump. And what we're seeing here is the roll cage acrylic window jump car. And Mark says that this is Jack Gill. It might be. It's hard to tell. But he's pounding stakes in to the ground to hold the ramp. So whenever the car hits the ramp doesn't move. And Hasselhoff's, once again, watching. So that's the collection of photos that Mark gave us. Really, really cool to be able to see a little bit behind the scenes of a few scenes from this episode. All right, let's get back to our commentary. All right, so this episode contains tons of references to different horror movies, but none more than Psycho. And it even starts with this character right here. So this is Norman Baines, right? We've got in Psycho, it's Norman Bates, but this is Norman Baines, and he has a lot of the same traits and interests as Norman Bates, to include taxidermy, which we'll see here in a little bit. And here's Jason Evers, and he is returning. He was in Not a Drop to Drink way back in season 1, and here he makes his second and final appearance in the series. And going back to what we were talking about, another reference to Psycho is the murdered woman in the bathtub, right? And then, of course, here's Hasselhoff consoling her, and we can see he's not wearing his comlink. He's wearing some generic Casio watch. So then Michael enters what is supposed to be Central Costume, but in reality, this is the Universal Studios prop department. And it's full of all kinds of neat little goodies. So I'm sure this statue was in some other Universal Studios production. Does anyone out there recognize it? I don't, but I'm sure that was custom made for something. And you can see he's just walking down the corridor, just the wall of lights. I mean, it's just amazing. AJ and I had the opportunity briefly to go into the prop department at Universal Studios back in 2012-ish. And you'll remember, and we posted this in the past, that we found Devin's desk, which was really cool. But and we weren't necessarily in this part of the prop department, but it was very similar to this, where you just had rows and rows and rows of the same stuff in different styles. It was really cool. All right, so then Michael calls out to Kit. Kit's outside. This is actually a scene from Slam and Sammy's Stunt Show Spectacular. So this is way back in season 1. This is the general purpose stunt car, which doesn't exist anymore. And in the background, you can see Lisa Phillips' white Firebird with the star on it. And then we see this Mummy. Again, what's this from? Is it from The Mummy? An old version of The Mummy? Probably. And we can see the Mummy in the background, and then we see some of this wardrobe here. And I'm sure that this outfit, what is this? Is this Battlestar Galactica? I mean, what outfit is this from? Do you guys recognize this? And then there's a totem pole deal right there. That's, I'm sure, from some other Universal Studios production. Anyways. All right, so now we have Michael leaving leaving the dry cleaners, although according to these signs it's fine wines and liquor, but whatever. And you can tell someone's watching him. Look at this right here. Doesn't that almost look like, I don't think it is, but doesn't that look like Kit right there? I don't see the bulge in the hood, but that sure looks like Kit. So we have Michael throwing the ape costume in the trunk. This is the hardtop stunt car. And you can see a couple things whenever we look at this. So we can see right here we've got this bulge, right? This trim panel bulge. This tells us that this panel was from a car that had a rear wiper. Now, did this particular car have a rear wiper? We don't know. It very could have, and they could have shaved it and filled it in, and then they left this panel. We do see the same hardtop stunt car back in Brothers Keeper at the very end of the episode when they pop the trunk to take the bomb out. You can see that the car still has this rear wiper panel. So it's very possible that this car had a rear wiper at one point. We can also see that the back trim panel is missing. This is very common for the original cars. These panels seem to just be taken out and removed completely because there's a mechanical cable in here that they use to pop the trunk, and it wouldn't work if the panel was there. So that's why this panel is missing. We can also see it has the deluxe interior, which are panels that are carpeted here. And again, it's hard to say for sure that this was part of this car from the factory. They swapped parts on these cars so much, these panels could have very easily been from another car. But one thing you do notice also, doesn't this look white in here? That is an indication that maybe that this hardtop stunt car was indeed white and they painted it black. All right, so then we get this point of view shot of Michael nearly getting hit. If we look to the right here, we see the Casper camera car, which we pointed out back in Let It Be Me, that it was actually purposely on camera. But here's one of their camera trucks that they use to film with, and I think this is probably another crew vehicle here. And then Michael flips over the hood, comes back, and we get probably our best look ever at the roof of the hardtop stunt car. Now, I know I said this in Knights of the Fast Lane that we just reviewed, that you get the best look ever, but now you really get the best look ever. So you can see exactly what they did right here to make the car look like it had T-tops. There's the strip in the front, strip in the back, and a strip in the middle, all riveted on. This is the only car that had this style of fake T-tops. So the one car that we have and the car that was destroyed in Night of the Juggernaut, those are both hardtop cars. And the strips on the front and back are a little thicker, and there's an additional strip that they added right across here to simulate the T-tops a little bit better. But what else do we see here? And he closes the door, and right here, look at all this. You see how shiny this is right here? This is a great, great example of how anytime the car needed painted, they would literally just tape off the windows and spray bomb the whole car. On a regular Trans Am, this stuff is not painted. This is all black rubber. But look at how many layers of paint are on these pieces. And our originals today have thick coats of paint on these panels here. So the door handles, the rubber weather stripping, the T-top, if they would have had real T-tops here, all of it would have been high gloss black, just spray bombed. All right, so now we have Michael and Kit approaching the glass plate truck. And we can see here, this was obviously one take, right? There's no ramp here. So they filmed Kit racing towards it, then stopped, and then they cut and put the ramp in. And you can see this nice point of view shot of the roll caged jump car. You can see the bolt holding the hubcap on, and you can also see the crew and maybe some bystanders right back there watching the filming. Yeah, there's the crew some more. And it looks like this person is taking a picture. It's not Mark Klein, but someone's taking a picture right there. So here's Norman pulling up in his car. You know, if they really wanted to do this right, they'd have Norman not drive a Dodge, but a 57 Ford, which I think is what was driven in the original Psycho. But still, the car has a similar style to it, so I think that's all they were going for. And here's what I was talking about earlier. So Norman's taxidermy collection. This is a direct reference and homage to Norman Bates from Psycho. And you can see he's got a bird here and the monkey. And, you know, even this bird and this shadow is probably a reference to Hitchcock's movie The Birds. I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised. All right, so then we move to the foundation. This was footage. They did not film in Arden Villa for this episode. This was footage filmed for a season 2 episode. We're not sure which one, either Brother's Keeper, A Knight in Shining Armor, or Goliath Returns, one of those three. There's not enough information for us to tell. And then here we go, just like we mentioned in the Ice Bandits, here's that new set on stage 1 that they built. Here it's being used as an extra room in the foundation that they're decorating. And you gotta love Devin's facial reaction right there of seeing the fake spider. All right, so we get another look at Bonnie's apartment, except it's ransacked. Do we see, is she into anything interesting? There's some clothes. No, she's not. She might be kind of boring. Bonnie might be boring outside of work. I don't know. All right. So then we get, you know, with the exception of the car, always felt like it was based in reality, right? It feels like if you could take the magic of Kit, you could drop it in the real world, and that would be good. But then you get weird things like, you know, in Diamonds Aren't a Girl's Best Friend, when Kit can magically make, like, statues move. And then you get this right here where, you know, Bonnie sees a dead woman in her tub and she thinks it's real and not a hologram. And you get this floating head here. None of this stuff, you know, this is all stretching the realm of believability a little bit. I wonder if this demon head is from another Universal production. Maybe some horror movie from the early 80s. Does anyone recognize this? I don't know. I'd love to know what that is. But what's even more scarier than this floating head is this creepy guy with a camera in Bonnie's shower. Look at this. So there's his hat. He's wearing shorts. There's his shirt. There's some kind of a camera or lighting equipment right here. And then there's his camera right there. And it's not like a blink and you'll miss it moment. Like this, it holds on him for quite a while. And another, you know, obviously, so we've got this, it's crystal clear, it's floating through the air, but in reality, that camera is behind this vent, which could never project an image that clear. You know, first of all, floating head, but let alone through these vents. And by the way, if you actually reverse the audio of the gibberish that little gremlin is saying, he does say 36 Fairview Road. Take a listen.
36 Fairview Road. 36 Fairview Road.
All right, so we move outside, and this is still that hardtop stunt car. Nice front view of it. And then we move, now we're at Universal Studios backlot. This is the hero car on a rare day where it rained in Southern California and was raining during the filming of this. And of course, they pull up to the Psycho house. There's probably not a bigger reference to Psycho in this episode than the Psycho house itself. This house does still exist, although I believe it's not at this location. I think they moved this house. And I believe as of the filming of this episode, this house was only like the front and one side, but then for one of the Psycho sequels, they built out the other sides, or maybe they built out the other sides before this episode. I think that's the way it is, because we do see different angles of this house coming up. So originally the Psycho house was only like the front and one side, but then they built the whole shell of it. And we got to see this when we were at Universal Studios again back in like 2012, and it was cool to see the Psycho house. But yeah, it's not at this location any longer. And another bird reference, probably a reference to the movie The Birds. I've never seen The Birds, so you guys can tell me. And one thing to note, so these scenes up here, so I don't have a screenshot of it, but whenever Bonnie and Michael go into the shed beside the building and find Linda Ramsden, the original script called for them to actually fall through a trap door on the front porch of the Psycho house, and they fell into a secret room, and that's where her body was found. But they changed it up a little for this episode. This is the left-hand blind drive car, as you can see. You can see the twin TV monitors in there. That's the dead giveaway. And yeah, here's what I was saying. It's a little blurry, but you can see that this must have been after they had finished the shell of the Psycho house. So you can see it has all the walls there. And this is the first time we see the grappling hook button in all the series. You know, we've seen the grappling hook in use, but this is the first time we actually see that it has a button. And here we go. KITT launches his grappling hook here and rips the chains away. This is the hero car. If you look here, you can see a crew member just sticking up over the window, the windshield, and they're doing some of this magic here. It's not actually shooting out from KITT. So then we get this point of view shot of Michael and Devin and Bonnie leaving. We see Devin's Mercedes once again with the hardtop shell up. And this angle, another reference to Psycho, this is Mother's window from the original Psycho movie. This is the view that Mother would have had. So it's neat that they reference that. And I've never seen the movie, but I hear that this mask is directly from the movie Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. So I might have to go back and see if I can verify that. A quick Google search seems to match the look of this, but that's another reference to another horror movie. And then we have this really cool night footage. This was filmed. It's stock footage. It was never filmed for a specific episode. They just, during some hiatuses, either in between seasons or in between episodes, the second unit would take the cars out and film stock footage of KITT, of the semi, different stuff like that. So that's what this is. This was stock footage filmed way back in season 1 in downtown Los Angeles. And then we see Michael here as Rhett Butler. And interestingly enough, Bonnie is dressed as Scarlett O'Hara. So that's a neat little tie-in there. But obviously, when you see Hasselhoff with a mustache, kind of gives you the Garth vibes, especially when he's in a white outfit like this. All right, pulling up in the hero car. No white wire here, unfortunately. We can still see a little bit of the goo on the headliner. But this building he pulls up to is not Flag Headquarters, Arden Villa. This is just another exterior building that happens to look like that they used for filming these scenes. So then after Bonnie gets freaked out by Norman, she runs down a hallway and goes in this door. And this is the only time... Is this the only time? I think it's the only time we see the hallway outside of Devin's office, right? You usually only see Devin's office and you can see the hallway through the archway, but here you actually see the hallway behind it. And once she gets in there, we're in Devin's office, and she's met by Simon, who is dressed as a Cylon from Battlestar Galactica, another reference to Universal property and a Glenn Larson property to boot. And if you look closely, you can see the Cylon eye going back and forth. It's not red here, it's like white, but you can see it going back and forth. And then once Simon reveals himself, Michael and Simon duke it out. And that's not Simon, that's Jack Gill right there doing some stunt work. All right, so then this is the left-hand blind drive car. Kit's ready to self-activate. You get a better look at this facade. I don't know where this is, but it's definitely not Arden Villa. So we have Simon leaving in the Mazda. Is this the same Mazda that Elliot Stevens drove in Nobody Does It Better and the one we just saw a couple episodes ago? I think it is. We saw it in Ice Bandits, didn't we? Parked outside the Diamond Exchange. I think this is the exact same car as those other 2 episodes. And then we have, this is now the right-hand blind drive car. Michael rushes over, gets in, and drives off. So just like we were talking about in the Ice Bandits, how they were trying to film, the right-hand blind drive car driving by itself, picking up Michael and driving off all in one take. And they kind of got away from that. But in this particular scene, they actually do that again without cutting, which is pretty cool. And we're at the drive-in. They're watching Creature from the Black Lagoon, another Universal property. And in the original script, the script called for this to not be Creature from the Black Lagoon. It was supposed to depict a nurse getting into a black Camaro. She then starts driving towards the audience, at which time Kit turbo boosts through the screen, and then that was supposed to kind of bring the whole thing into reality. And my favorite turbo boost face, drunk. Well, I shouldn't say drunk Michael. That's bad given Hasselhoff's problems in the past. But yeah, just his face there, I always enjoyed. How about indigestion, Michael? Right? He's got bad indigestion here. All right. Anyways, moving on. All right. So here we have not Hasselhoff, but here's Jack Gill now dressed as Rhett Butler. So Jack really got to dress up as a lot of different characters in this particular episode. But here he is as Rhett Butler getting ready to tackle this guy. So then we proceed to the end of the episode, and here's Devin's Mercedes again, now with the convertible down. So Bonnie's apartment complex is at 15233 Noble Street in Los Angeles. And years ago, our friend Dennis, I'm calling you out again, Dennis, just like I did in Knights of the Fast Lane. But our friend Dennis went out to this filming location and took some shots. There are no good Google Street views of this, unfortunately, and I can't find the pictures that Dennis gave me. So it's all still there, and it looks pretty much the same. You'll just have to take my word for it. All right, and then we get this final scene where Gene's walking by, the plants are falling. If you look closely, you can see the fishing line right here that's pulling the plants over. There it is right there. And we're going to end this episode saying what all of us are thinking. What was in the crock pot? We'll never know. Maybe we should look up Dallas Cole, see if she remembers. All right, so with that, we're done with Halloween night. It's too bad we couldn't have timed this to premiere back in October, but that would have been a little rushed. So hopefully you appreciated it and enjoyed it. Next time, we're digging into Kit versus Car. Probably the #1 episode of Knight Rider for most of you guys ever produced. And there's going to be so much going on there. So I hope you'll join me for that. As always, thanks for joining me for this episode. Really appreciate it, and we'll talk to you soon.
And now, while we listen to Joe's selection of Knight Rider music that we received directly from Don Peake himself, we'd like to thank these Patreon supporters. Look at you guys scrolling up the screen to my right. Wait a minute, how can you tell which side is my right, since you can't see me because I'm not on camera? Oh well, you know what I mean. We're featuring these fine supporters at our Knight Rider Prop Restorer level. Thank you very much for your support. And for those of you at the Knight Rider History Hunter level, we're recognizing you right now in the description. Now, if you enjoyed seeing this golden nugget of Knight Rider history being rescued from obscurity, then please consider supporting us on Patreon. Your support would empower us to bring you even more of these historical nuggets. We are the Knight Rider Historians. Till next time, take care, everybody. Bye-bye.